Story 1. The Stranger in the Basement. They say old houses remember their owners. Every creak, every draft, every unexplained sound is just the past whispering through the walls. For 3 years, I thought I'd learned every voice my Ohio home had to offer, until one Tuesday evening, when the house showed me something I was never meant to see. I had just come back from the grocery store. Milk, bread, frozen dinners for my late shifts. Mundane things. As I set the cereal boxes on the counter, I heard it, a steady drip coming from below. At first, I thought it was just the water heater again. This place was built in the 72nd, and the previous owner hadn't exactly been generous with maintenance. But this wasn't the usual gurgle of old pipes. The sound was too rhythmic, almost like a metronome, beating patiently in the dark. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and started toward the basement. The wooden stairs groaned like they always did, but when I hit the third step, something different happened. My shoe sank into something slick, sticky. I angled the flashlight down, my stomach clenched. A trail of liquid, thick and dark, ran across each step, spilling downward until it pooled at the concrete floor below. I bent lower, breathing through my mouth, praying it was rust mixed with water from a burst pipe. But then the smell hit me sharp, metallic, undeniable. Blood. Fresh enough that it still glistened. The air grew heavier the deeper I went, that copper tang filling my lungs, mingling with the mildew of damp concrete. I followed the trail, my flashlight beam shaking in my hand. The basement isn't big bare floor, some storage boxes, a water heater humming in the corner. But tucked behind a stack of dusty Christmas decorations, I saw movement. A man was crouched there, a stranger. He was bent over a large plastic bucket, his hands submerged, working with slow, deliberate motions. He wore dark clothes, and though his back was to me, I could see the way his shoulders flexed as he wrung something out. Bloody water spilled across the concrete, seeping toward my shoes, splattering up the stairs. A garden hose slithered across the floor into the bucket, feeding his work, and all the while the drip, drip, drip echoed louder now, like the house itself was keeping time with him. I froze, maybe for seconds, maybe for hours. This was my basement, my space. Yet here was someone cleaning something so wrong. Then he turned. Not startled, not afraid. He looked directly at me, as though I was the intruder. He wasn't remarkable average height, the kind of man you'd pass at Walmart and never remember. But his eyes, cold, calm, too calm. He didn't stop scrubbing. He didn't even blink. The wet slap of fabric against water filled the silence. Then he spoke, his voice low, matter of fact, as though commenting on the weather. "Not yours," he said. Then, after a pause, "Yet." That one word broke me. My body jolted free from whatever spell held me. I turned, bolting up the stairs 3 at a time. I didn't care about the bloody water smearing under my shoes. I slammed the basement door and dragged the heavy kitchen table in front of it, my hands trembling so badly I nearly dropped my phone. When I called 911, I tried to explain, but the words sounded insane even to my own ears. A stranger in my basement, calmly washing bloody clothes. 15 minutes later, 2 patrol cars and a detective showed up. They searched the basement with their flashlights, but when they returned, their expressions told me everything. Nothing. The concrete floor was dry. No bucket, no hose, no blood. Every window latched, every entry sealed. Detective Rodriguez, the older one, gave me that tired look. Suggested maybe I'd been overworked. Stress does strange things, he said. But I know what I saw. I know what I smelled. I know what he said. I haven't gone back down there since. I've been staying with my brother, telling him the house is under renovation. But sometimes, when I'm lying awake at night, I remember how calm he was, like he belonged down there more than I did. And last night, when I checked my voicemail, there was a message I never recorded. Just the sound of dripping, steady, patient, like a metronome waiting to count me down. Story 2. The Blood-Tainted Pool. Vacations are supposed to be escapes, a chance to reset, to forget the grind. That's what I told myself when I booked 3 nights at a resort in Myrtle Beach. I'd saved all year for it, upgrading from dingy motels to a glossy oceanfront paradise with glowing reviews online. The Ocean View Resort looked like the kind of place where nothing bad could ever happen. It was my second morning there, and like always, I was up before dawn. Old habits from high school swim team die hard. The pool was my sanctuary, quiet water, soft morning light, and no crowds. Just me, the rhythm of my breathing, and the meditative repetition of laps. When I stepped outside, the Atlantic was just waking up. A pale orange sun climbed over the horizon, casting ripples of gold across the waves. The pool shimmered too, catching the dawn's reflection. But something was wrong. The water didn't shine that crisp turquoise blue that resorts advertise. Instead, it glowed faintly, red. At first, I thought it was a trick of the sunrise. Or maybe algae. Early season pools can get cloudy. The maintenance team probably just hadn't shocked it with chlorine yet. Still, the color gnawed at me, especially when I leaned in closer. The smell wasn't chlorine. It was metallic, sweet, and sickening, like a bloody nose dripping down the back of your throat. I almost walked away. Almost. But when you pay $400 a night, stubbornness wins. I dipped a toe into the water. It clung to my skin, not cool and crisp like it should be, but warm, thick. I wiped at my foot with the towel, leaving a streak of reddish residue that made my stomach turn. Still, I dove in. The moment I hit the water, I knew I'd made a mistake. It wasn't water, it was heavier, thicker. The taste filled my mouth before I could spit it out. Coppery, raw, unmistakable. I surfaced, coughing, spitting, trying to convince myself it was just chemicals gone bad. Then something brushed my leg. Not the scrape of tile, not a leaf or a pool toy. It was soft, pliable, human. I kicked away, but curiosity got the better of me. My hand shot down, and I grabbed hold of something fabric-like. I pulled it up, and bile rose instantly in my throat. It was a swimming cap, one of those vintage rubber ones from decades ago. Inside, tangled and fused into the material, were long blonde strands of hair. Not clean, not dry, matted with clots of dark red. The roots jagged, torn. And the worst part, the hair was still bleeding. Thin streams trickled down into the pool, dissolving into the water that surrounded me. I dropped it, thrashing toward the edge. But now, I saw more. Shapes floated just beneath the surface. At first, I told myself they were towels, shadows, debris. But as my vision adjusted, they became clearer. Pale forms drifting in the current, limbs bent at impossible angles, fingers reaching upward like they wanted me to pull them out. The stench of iron hit me full force. My stomach churned. I clawed at the edge, dragging myself out, gasping on the hot concrete deck. My body was covered in a sticky film that glistened rust red in the light of sunrise. I staggered back toward the lobby, leaving wet, crimson footprints across the marble floor. The desk clerk looked up from her computer. Her eyes widened. She didn't scream, didn't rush forward. She just whispered, "Sir, you weren't supposed to go in there." Confused, I demanded to know what she meant. She pointed toward the phones in the lobby. "We left messages on every room line last night. The pool was closed for maintenance." Back in my room, the red light on my phone was blinking. A message waited. I pressed play. The voice on the other end wasn't staff. It wasn't anyone from the resort. Just a faint gurgling, wet and distorted, followed by a whisper. "You swam too soon." An hour later, the police drained the pool. What they found made the evening news, though not for long. The resort refunded guests, shut down, and quietly erased its name from booking sites. I wish I could erase what I felt. The warmth of that thick water, the taste in my mouth, and the memory of something brushing my leg in the dark, wanting me to stay down there with it. That was a month ago. Last night, when I got home from work, a plastic bag sat on my doorstep. Inside was water thick, red water, and the smell of iron hit me the moment I opened it. No note, no explanation. Just a reminder that some pools don't wash clean. Story 3. The White Van. Every town has its warnings. Don't walk alone after dark. Stay away from the train tracks. But the one I always heard growing up was about the white van. You know the stories: unmarked vans lurking in parking lots, side doors sliding open to swallow people whole. I thought those were just cautionary tales designed to keep kids wary. Until last Thursday night, when the myth pulled up behind my car. I was working a late shift at Target in suburban Denver. 11 p.m. I was one of the last out, tasked with bringing in the final row of carts before heading home. The lot was mostly empty, my beat-up Honda, a few stragglers, and the harsh glow of security lamps buzzing overhead. That's when I noticed it. A white van, parked directly behind my car. No windows on the sides or back. Spotless, almost polished, like it had rolled fresh off a dealer lot. It hadn't been there when I arrived. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe a contractor, maybe someone waiting for a friend. But as I wheeled the carts toward the store, my gut nodded. Why park so close when the entire lot was wide open? When I came back with my jacket and keys, the van was still there. This time, I noticed something worse. Exhaust curling from the tailpipe, engine running, but no headlights, no cabin light. Just the low growl of a motor humming in the dark. I slowed, fishing for my keys, pretending not to notice. That's when it happened. The sliding side door began to open. Not fast, not the casual slam of someone stepping out. It moved slow, deliberate, like whoever was inside wanted to keep hidden until I was close enough. I stopped in my tracks. Through the widening gap, I saw nothing at first but blackness. Then a faint glow, a small red light, the kind you'd see on a phone recording. Shapes took form in the dark interior. Not one, but at least two people, still, waiting, watching. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my body wouldn't move. I stood there like a deer in headlights. As the door slid wider, boots appeared first. Heavy work boots planted firmly on the van's floor. They didn't move. Then came the hands. Two sets of gloved hands. Not contractor gloves, not work-stained leather. These were latex, smooth, pale, shining wet in the glow of that red light. And smeared across them were stains. Dark stains, dripping from fingertips, crawling up to the wrists. Between the two figures, I saw a black garbage bag. Large, heavy, and moving. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't shifting from the van's idle rumble. It bulged, twitched. Something inside struggled against the plastic. Then, one of the figures leaned forward, face hidden behind a ski mask, just the outline of eyes glinting in the dim light. He raised a gloved hand and pointed directly at me. His voice was calm, too calm. "There's room for one more." That broke me. My legs finally obeyed. I ran sprinting back to the store entrance, lungs burning, heart hammering like it wanted out of my chest. Behind me, I heard the van door slam shut. The engine revved. But by the time the overnight manager let me inside and I dared to look back, the van was gone, vanished. No taillights, no screeching tires, just silence. When the police arrived, they searched the lot. Nothing. No van. No tracks. Cameras covering that section of the lot? Mysteriously offline, they said, due to a technical glitch. I quit the next day, got transferred to another store across town with better lighting and more people around. But quitting didn't erase the image. Those gloved hands, that bag, that calm voice promising there was room for one more. And last night, something else happened. When I got home, there was mail waiting. A plain envelope. Inside was a new Target name badge. My name, my picture. But this one wasn't red like the usual logo. It was stamped in black. And in the bottom corner, barely visible, was the number 2 written in dried crimson ink. They're still counting.